Hey, you guys, welcome back. I hope everyone is having a very blessed day. It's your girl, Bobby. And I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you all for being here. I hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful week. I hope everything's been going great. And I hope all is well with everyone. Before we get into today's topic, what I want to start off with is prayer. So, if you guys will, please bow with me and let's get into it. Lord, I want to thank you for all that you do, for all that you are. I I just want to thank you for every moment that you allow us to have. I want to thank you for every breath that you give us and every chance that we have to reunite with you, to be able to see you once again when we leave this life and we finally enter into the life that you meant for us, Lord. I thank you for that. I thank you for all your continuous glory and all of your continuous strength that you allow us to lean upon. I ask that you be with all of those who are lost. Lead them back to you because it's only you that can truly show us things, that can truly bring revelation to us. I ask that you use me at this time to not only open ears of those who just haven't been able to hear your voice, but also to help those who are confused and who are lost. Let the words that I speak today not be my own, but yours. You bless us with the capability of having your spirit within us, not only to convict us in the times that we fall short, but to guide us in those times that we are lost, to strengthen us in those times that we just feel like we are nothing. We have nothing within us. So, Lord, I ask you today, and I ask you every day to please guide us and let your will be done, not ours. Because you are the only one worthy. You are the only one that is truly good. So I ask that your will continue to be done, not mine. Father, I also ask a special prayer that you be with our sister Faith. She's going through a lot right now, Lord. And unfortunately, the world has turned to, instead of helping people, they want to just gain more and more and more and more. So I ask that you continue to hold her. I know you've already healed her, Lord, but I ask that you help our time catch up with your time so that she may feel the healing that you have already bestowed upon her. I thank you for all that you continue to do, Lord. I ask that you please hold all out there that are not only sick, that are not only struggling, but the ones that seem to be having it going great. Continue to be with those who aren't struggling. Continue to guide them to make sure that they stay close to you in those moments because it's so easy to come to you when we are struggling, when we are nothing, when we are at the pit. But how hard is it to stay next to you when things are going great? When life seems good, when it seems like we have no need of you. Remind us that we are always in need of you because without you, we have nothing. We are nothing, and nothing is never where we want to be. Lord, I ask that you be with our nation's leaders as they make decisions that pertain to the entire nation. Be with the world's leaders as they make decisions about their individual countries, about all that's going on. And I know your will is being done. And I know we move closer and closer to that time of you returning. So I ask that you bring comfort to those who are worried about it. Guide those who are lost and hold those who are already yours because no one can snatch them away as you have told us. So, in all that, Lord, I continue to thank you and I continue to praise you. And I thank you for all that will hear this message. And I ask that your will be done through it, not mine. In your mighty, mighty name, Jesus, I pray. Amen. All right, y'all. Hello, hello. What a wonderful topic today, right? For those of you who are like fasting, what does fasting got to do with anything, Bobby? Wow, it has so much to do with so much. You guys know, because I always look up verses that I want to use when I'm talking about all these things. The word either fast or fasting is used 4,065 times in the Bible. That's a lot, y'all. Like, God doesn't point out something that much for it to be nothing, for it to be worthless. He doesn't mention something just so we can sit there and be like, "Oh, that's cool," and just ignore it. And unfortunately, I don't think fasting's taught enough and taught often enough. And real, true biblical fasting, I don't think is shown the amazingness that it can provide. Not only for our health. I appreciate you, Lionel. Yeah, go get some sleep, brother. Go get some sleep. Not only for our health, but also for our connection to God. We always want to make our relationship better with him. We're always constantly sitting there and just wondering, how can I get closer to God? How can I understand what he's trying to tell me? How this, how that, how? But the glory and the all of his amazingness is written out for us. He gave us everything that we could ever need in his word. He didn't leave anything that's detrimental to us out. Yes, there are some things that we can clearly see he told people not to write down, but those are the things that we don't need yet. He will reveal those in his time. Everything that we need, he provided. And he did all that he did for us. So when we just glance over certain things that he's told us, I know as a mom when I tell my children something and they only listen to part of it, I get frustrated. So I can only imagine how God feels, right? Like literally, I can only imagine y'all. Okay. So let's get into it. Let's get into his word because that's all the words we really need, y'all. I lost my page. Okay, here we are. So first little versey verses, and like I said, you guys, there are over 4,000 of them. So please go back, do your own little study with God on it. This is just a kind of foundation to get you going and to reassure you that fasting is 1000% biblical. And it's so amazing when you do it. So let's get in it. So we're going to start in Daniel chapter 10, and I'm going to read 1 through 4. In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a message was revealed to Daniel, who was named Belthazzar. I, yeah, no. And the message was true that one of the great conflict, but he understood the message and had an understanding of the vision. In those days, I, Daniel, had been mourning for 3 entire weeks. That's a long time to mourn, y'all. Could you imagine that? I mean, I've lost people, but I've been blessed with the ability to bounce back But some people need time, and that's okay. We can see that God allowed Daniel 3 entire weeks. So, never think that you have to rush through something. God allows. God allows. I did not eat any tasty food, nor did meat or wine enter my mouth, nor did I use any anointment at all until the entire 3 weeks were completed. So, you guys, Daniel fasted right here because he was mourning. How crazy is that? We often think that when somebody loses somebody, the first thing we go to is, "Let me make food for them." I have no idea why. Maybe it's because as humans, we like to eat our emotions a lot. Um, but it's not always the best to hoard yourself with food. It's actually really detrimental, especially food nowadays. Because, ugh, you guys, make sure you look where your food comes from and you read stuff because it matters. Uh, but Daniel fasted because he was sad because he was mourning. I mean, I never think about fasting when I'm mourning. I mean, inadvertently, sometimes you do it because you're so just sad and disappointed, but it's not like, "Let me fast right now because of this." Daniel's my go-to for fasting too. 'Kay. I love going to Daniel for when I'm going to fast or when I'm thinking about fasting or trying to figure out about fasting. Daniel's such a good book for it. Um, so we can fast when we're mourning. We can fast just because. Sorry, you guys. I keep moving it. I keep switching back and forth from things. All right, let's versey verse, y'all. And we're going to do Old Testament to New Testament. So I apologize, you guys, if you're like, why are there no New Testament verses? There are. We'll get to them. Don't worry. It's all over the Bible. All right, let's go to Ezra 8:23. And as you guys can see, I kind of already looked all these up earlier. Meh, 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 meh. You know, I always like to go up a few. That way we can have context. And I highly advise you guys to read Daniel if you're wondering about fasting, if you're trying to figure out why Daniel was mourning. It's a good story, y'all. And the cooler thing is that it actually happened. All right. Ezra 8:21. Then I proclaimed a fast there at the river of Ava, that we might humble ourselves before our God to seek for him a safe journey for us, our little ones, and all our possessions. For I was ashamed to request from the king's troops and the horsemen to protect us from the enemy on the way, because we had said to the king, "The hand of our God is favorably disposed to all those who seek him, but his power and his anger are against all those who forsake him." So we fasted and sought our God concerning this matter, and he listened to our entreaty. All right, let's go back up, you guys, because wow. I proclaimed a fast that we might humble ourselves before God. How amazing is that? Because that's really what we're doing when we're fasting. When you were fasting, you are literally saying, I'm talking about biblical fasting. I'm not talking about like intermediate fasting to lose weight or anything like that. I'm talking about biblically fasting with God. You are telling God, I am going to deny my body what it thinks it needs and rely on you to hold me. to strengthen me and to allow me whatever time frame I agree to. You are literally putting your trust in God when you do this. And God always rewards those who do his will. So if you sit there and you feel that you are being called to fast, do it. Now, in the Bible, all we see them really fast from is food. And that's because they're literally saying, Lord, I understand exactly what you said when you said, you are the bread of life. You are the living water. And I can deny my body this thing that it thinks it needs so that you may fill me, so that you may strengthen me. So, whatever I have been lacking, you may show me. We see that not only did they do it because they straight up told the king, like, my God will provide. My God is there for those who seek him, and he's against those who forsake him. But look at verse 23. So we fasted and sought our God concerning this matter, and he listened. He listened. He provided. He said, "Thank you, child." So never fast because you feel like you're going to gain something. No, you do it because it allows God to take over in a way that our normal lives don't allow. But let's keep going in his word. Hold Esther 4:6. Sorry, guys, I'm making it a little smaller. All right, let me go back up. We're going to go verse 1. All right. When Mordecai learned all that had been done, he tore his clothes, put on a sackcloth and ashes, and went out into the midst of the city and wailed loudly and bitterly. He went as far as the king's gate, for no one was to enter the king's gate clothed in sackcloth. In each and every province where the command and decree of the king came, there was a great mourning among the Jews, with fasting, weeping, and wailing, and many lay on sackcloth and ashes. Then Esther's maiden and her eunuchs came and told her, and the queen withered the great anguish. She had sent garments to clothe Mordecai, that he might remove his sackcloth from him, but he did not accept them. Then Esther summoned Hathach from a king's eunuch, whom the king had appointed to attend to her, and ordered him to go to Mordecai and to learn what it was and why it was. So Hathach went out to Mordecai to the city square in front of the gate. All right, we'll stop right there, you guys. So we see again that we are fasting right here. fasting, weeping, and wailing. So they were mourning, you guys. And it said many lay on sackcloth and ashes. So for those of you that don't know, that's part of the mourning traditions of the Jewish people. It's kind of how they symbol complete surrenderance, more or less, and just complete woe. Um, I know there's a name for it, but I can't think of it right now. But do we see that they were mourning and fasting? It's not that they were fasting because they were so sad, how we do. They were fasting because they wanted God to hear them. They wanted their cries to be amplified. And the only way that they knew how to do that was to fast, to allow God in and allow their bodies to surrender completely, to allow their will to be surrendered unto God and denying themselves. Denying themselves is the only way they could do that. It's the only way they could truly get in there and actually give God what he deserved and to be able to ask him for what they wanted. They allowed themselves. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. Okay, I shot you something over in WhatsApp. Um, but they allowed themselves to be emptied, to allow God in, to allow Him to work, to allow Him to do all these amazing things because they weren't so worried about themselves. They were more worried about what was happening, and they knew God was the only one that could fix it. They knew that God was the only one that could truly do anything. So they fasted. So they cried out to Him, and they let Him know that they just wanted Him to help them. And of course, God did. Of course, He did, because He's God and He's so amazing. And He does these things for us. All we need is to ask. Sorry, you guys, give me 5 seconds. My son just woke up. He hasn't been feeling good today. So let me just go check on him real quick, y'all. Alright, you guys, my bad. I'm back. Just needed to make sure he was feeling alright. Not getting sick again. Alright, let's go over to Joel chapter 2. I'll be fasting. Amen. Amen. Ah, okay, girly. Ah, of course she did. She's like, I'm going to sleep, mom. I'm nice and full. It's been a long day. We go to bed. Okay. All right. Let's go back up to verse. We'll just go verse 1. All right. Blow a trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm on my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of the Lord is coming. Surely it is near. A day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and thick darkness. As the dawn is spread over the mountains, so there is a great and mighty people. There has never been anything like it, nor will there be after it. To the Oh, I apologize, guys. 5 seconds, I got a phone call. Sorry, y'all. One day I'll have no interruptions. Maybe. Okay, as the dawn is spread over the mountains, so there is a great and mighty people. There has never been anything like it, nor will there be again after it, to the years of many generations. A fire consumes before them, and behind them a flame burns. The land is like the Garden of Eden before them. But hi, Papa. I'm doing a live. Yeah, are you coming in here to hang out? Okay, Bubba, go ahead, lay down. Okay, Bubba, if you're still tired, you can go back to sleep in here. The land is like the Garden of Eden before them, but a desolate wilderness behind them, and nothing at all escapes them. Their appearance is like the appearance of horses, and like war horses, so they run. 5 seconds, y'all. I apologize. Okay, I'm back, you guys. I apologize. We're potty training, so if he says he got to go, we go. uh, their appearance is like the appearance of horses, and like war horses, so they run. With a noise as of chariots, they leap on the tops of the mountains, like the crackling of a flame of consuming and subtle stubble, like many like a mighty people arranging for a battle. Before them, the people are in anguish. All faces turn pale. They run like mighty men. They climb the wall like soldiers, and they each march in a line. Nor do they deviate from their paths. Deviate, sorry. They do not crowd each other. They march every one in his path. When they burst through the defense, they do not break ranks. They rush on the city. They rush on the wall. They run on the walls. They climb into the houses. They enter through the windows like a thief. Before them, the earth quakes. The heavens tremble. The sun and the moon grow dark, and the stars lose their brightness. The Lord utters his voice before his army. Surely his camp is very great. For strong is he who carries out his word. The day of the Lord is indeed great and very awesome. And who can endure it? Yet even now, declares the Lord, return to me with all your heart, and with fasting, weeping, and mourning, and render your heart and not your garments. Now return to the Lord your God, for he is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, abounding in loving kindness, and relenting of evil. All right, we'll stop right there, you guys. Oh, that's just so good. Whew. So, all of this above is about God's army. And then we get to 12 and 13. Well, we get to 11, sorry. And it says, and who can endure it? The day of the Lord is indeed great and very awesome. And who can endure it? So who will be able to withstand God coming back? And it's very simple. Those are who are with him. Those who are his children. Those are who are part of his army. Because those who are against him, they're going to have a very rude awakening. But they won't be able to say, I never knew. Because it will be a lie. Because when he finally returns, everybody will have known of him. It's the only thing that he truly tells us that we can look for. He says there will be signs in the sky, but we have no idea what the signs are. He says there will be rumors of war. He says that there will be a false great peace. But those things happen often, you guys. But the one thing that we know for sure will happen before he comes is that every nation will know his name. That there will be no one that is capable of saying, I never heard of you. Who are you? Because everyone will have the capability of hearing of him. Everyone will have that possibility of learning who he is. And everybody will have the opportunity to come to him. There will not be anyone that can say, I have no idea. I never heard of you. Because he won't allow that. Everything he tells us is a promise. He doesn't lie. None of his words fall short. None of them are without being fulfilled. If God says it, God does it. And that is the one thing that we can truly, truly sit there and say, okay, we know all nations have heard of him. He'll be coming back. You can hear people try to predict when it will happen. You can hear people try to say all these things, but until that thing for sure is completed, don't even don't even think he's coming back because he will never not complete what he said. He will never falter. He will never go against his word. That's why it says when he returns all nations will bow and confess the name of Jesus Christ because they will have no choice at that point because they will see him in all his glory and know that the person that they denied was real. And it it's scary only if you're on that side that doesn't know him. And it's only scary if you deny him and walk away and don't allow him to save you. And he tells us right here, yet even now declares the Lord. So all of this is to come, right? But he tells them and he tells us, yet even now. So in today, right this minute, declares the Lord. God himself is speaking. Return to me with all your heart and with fasting, weeping, and mourning. And I know that might sound confusing. Like, are we supposed to constantly be sad? Or are we supposed to? No. But when you know him, you are sad. And not because you're not full of joy, but because you have this pain within you for those who are lost to find him. And that's why you go out and you spread his word. That's why you go out and you give your testimony. Not because he forces us to, but because there is a part of us, and I think it's truly from him. He allows us to feel his pain. But we don't want to even think about those who will not get to be with him again. It's a pain that is constantly within us. And that's what he means. The weeping in the morning, because we cry out for those who are lost. We mourn those who have passed away that we know were not of him. But he says we can come back to him through fasting, through the weeping, through the mourning. And he gives us all of his love. He strengthens us. He holds us in a way that we deny him over and over again. Even as believers and followers, if we don't ever deny ourselves, can we truly say we are of Jesus? Hmm. Yoshi? Yeah, no, Yoshi not in this one. Can we truly say that we are walking with him? If we never step into it being a new being, if we never accept that new heart, if we never are baptized in his spirit, he says to pick up our crosses daily and die to ourselves so that he may live through us. Not because he wants to be here like that. He was here like that. He went through all of it. I promise you, he probably don't ever want to do it again, but he would. He would. He's so great and so amazing and so beyond anything we can give label to that he never has to do it again because he finished it. That part of it is done. And when he comes back again, he will finish the rest. And he's calling you and me. He's calling us. These people that do nothing for the benefit of good, whether we think it is or not. There's always some secret motive behind it, no matter how quote unquote good of a person you are. God is the only one that is truly good, truly righteous. That's why he is the only one that deserves all the praise, all the glory. But even though we are these people, he wants us. He's calling us home. He sacrificed himself for us. He emptied himself out so that he may walk how we walk, so that he may cry how we cry, so that he may suffer the way that we suffer. So not only could he be all amazing, all powerful, and know what already we go through, but so that he could personally experience it. I don't know anyone like that except God that would give up all of this power, all of this amazingness to walk as man walks. The phrase of you don't know somebody until you've walked a mile in their shoes. God walked 33 years in ours. He did what most of us will not do. He humbled himself. And I know this is off topic, y'all, but it's so important to understand the God that we serve and the amount of love that he continues to show to us. All of those who are already knowing him, we can't wait to go home. There are days I find myself asking, is today the day, Lord? Because I'm done. But you know what he says? I still have those who are lost. Go find them. Bring them so that when I do come, they're not lost anymore. Bring them so I don't have to punish them in a way that was never meant for them. We sit here and we bicker, we argue, we do all these stupid human things. We allow the principalities of evil to whisper in our ears. We allow the enemy to wiggle his way in to the spaces that we refuse to surrender to God. And all God is doing is waiting and sitting there like, it's okay. I'm patient. I'll wait for you. But his patience can only last so long. Not because he doesn't have infinite patience, because at some point he knows there is no longer anyone that will come to me. I've seen their hearts. I know no matter who I send, they will still deny me. So he gives them what they ask for. separation from him. Because why would he welcome somebody into his home that doesn't want to be there? That's what we don't think about. We think, oh, he's so mean for doing that. No, he's literally giving people what they want, what they asked for. They don't want to be with him. Okay. There's only other one place you can be. But that's not today's topic, y'all. Yes, my handsome. No, he's not in this one. Okay. Sorry, you guys, for my little rant. Let's get to the next verse. Isaiah 58, 6 through 7. Oh, I just, uh, so crazy, y'all. So crazy. Okay. Yeah, like out of water. There we go. Uh huh. All right, let's go back up. We'll start in verse 1. Observance of fasts. Isn't that funny? God's so good, he gives us a whole chapter on it. All right. Cry loudly. Do not hold back. Raise your voice like a trumpet, and declare to my people their transgressions, to the house of Jacob their sins. Yes, Baba. No. Yet they seek me day by day and delight to know my ways, as a nation that has done righteousness and has not forsaken their ordinance of their God. They ask me for just decisions. They delight in the nearness of God. Why have we fasted and you do not see? Why have we humbled ourselves and you do not notice? Behold, on that day of your fast you find your desire, and drive your hard all your workers. Behold, you fast for contention and strife, and to strike with a wicked fist. You do not fast like you do today, to make your voice heard on high. Is it a fast like which I choose? A day for a man to humble himself? Is it for bowing one's head like a reed, and for spreading out sackcloth and ashes as a bed? Will you call this a fast, even an acceptable day to the Lord? Is this not the fast which I choose? To loosen the bonds of the wickedness, to undo the bands of the yoke, and to let the oppressed go free, and break every yoke? Is it not to divide your bread with the hungry, and bring the homeless poor into the house? When you see the naked, to cover him, and not to hide yourself from your own flesh? Let your light, then your light will break out like the dawn, and you will recover will and your recovery will speedily spring forth, and your righteousness will go before you. The glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. Then you will call, and the Lord will answer. You will cry, and he will say, Here I am. If you remove the yoke from your midst, then pointing of the finger and speaking wickedness, and if you give yourself to the hungry and satisfy the desires of the affliction, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your gloom will become like midday. And the Lord will continue to guide you and satisfy your desire in scorned places, and give strength to your bones, and you will be like watered garden, like the spring of a water whose water did not fail. Those from among you will rebuild ancient ruins. You will rise up the age old foundations, and you will be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of the streets in which to dwell. Y'all, right here, Isaiah is literally calling out what we are not to do when we fast. Starts with saying, "Cry out loudly and do not hold back. Raise your voice like a trumpet and declare my people," so this is God, "my people their transgressions and the house of Jacob their sin. And yet they seek me day by day and delight to know my ways." So God's saying, like, yeah, these people are of me. They listen. They enjoy when they're next to me. They ask me for just decisions and they delight in the nearness of me. But are they fasting because they want to achieve God's will, or are they fasting for their own benefit? Behold, your fast for contention and strife, and to strike with a wicked fist. You do not fast like you do today to make your voice heard on high. So, like I said before, when we fast, it's not supposed to be something that we do, one, because we feel like we have to, or because we want something in the sense of like, oh, I want you to strike down this person. I want you to cause this. I want you to cause that. No, this is a time that we humble ourselves to God and we say, your will be done, not mine. We say, Lord, where am I lacking? How can I grow closer to you? Show me. And the greater thing is, when we allow ourselves to fast, we're allowing our minds to be open. So, for me personally, I've only fasted, well, I fasted a lot actually now. But the first time I fasted, y'all, I was like, this is going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. I'm going to go a whole entire week without eating. And if you feel called to do that your very first fasting and you're able to do it, good on you. But make sure that God is telling you to do that. Because if you enter into this thinking that you cool and that you are going to be able to do it, you are going to fail just like I did. I didn't make it a single day without needing something to eat because I wasn't relying on God. I can truly and honestly say that. I did not rely on God the first time I tried to fast. 'Cause I did it because I felt like it was gonna make me closer to him. I felt like all these amazing things would happen because of it. Because that's what the Bible tells us. But what I forgot to do was, include God. I just left him out of the picture. In my head, I was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be great. God's gonna be with me." But then I forgot to actually include him and be like, "Hey, Lord, um, I need you here. I need you. Can you help me?" So definitely go when you fast. Make sure you're in the right mindset. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, and don't just be out there telling everybody. Like everybody don't need to know that you fasted. The lady at King Supers don't need to know that you fasted. Okay, it's supposed to be a personal thing. When I finally was able to actually meet God where He was, because for this moment, He didn't come to me. He said, "You need to seek me," and I was okay with that. And when I met Him where He was in this, and I only fasted for 3 days. I told myself I'm not going to try to go hard the first time, but I am going to make sure God's there. So I fasted for 3 days, and every time I'd get hungry, I'd make sure I'd read the Word or I'd pray. And Not only did it help me grow closer to God, not only did it allow me to just feel more connected to Him, but it was the very first time I ever received a dream from Him. And to this day, this was back in 2001? No, 2020. Not too long after my daughter was born. Um, no, it was probably 2021. Yeah, that sounds about right. Um, I received my first dream, and I remember that dream detail for detail today. And it was the most amazing dream. And I remember when I woke up from it, I looked at my husband and I looked around and I was like, wait, what? Hold on. That didn't really happen. And I was so mad. I was so mad. But I knew it was from God. Every detail that he showed me, everything that was there, I just knew it was from him. And the only reason I was able to see all that he showed me was because I was emptied. Because I denied myself. And since then, I fast when I'm called to. There are times that I think I need to fast and I'll try to start and then God's like, "No, we're not yet. There's nothing yet. It's not in the right time." So ensure that when you go to fast, it's for the right reasons. I know the world is all about intermediate fasting to lose weight and da 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 da, and that's great. If that's what you do, that's fine. And then you got the Catholics over there doing Lent, fast for 40 days, just like Jesus. Give up one thing. And the sad thing is, most of them, that's the only time they ever fast. Ooh, I'd be down. I am a downy down, and I'm about to get to your question, girly. Y'all, if you down to do group fast and prayer, hit up either myself or Kay. Um, there's Discord, we got email. Um, there's lots of ways to reach the show. I'll make sure I drop my email in the description. But I'd be down. I know it'd have to be a little while because she is currently taking care of her little baby that she just had. Congratulations, by the way, girly. But I'd be down. That sounds so much fun. All right, so hold on. Before I continue on, you guys, she also asked a question, which I thought was a great question. What is the hardest part of fasting? I think it just depends on where you're at in your journey. For me, the first time was just denying myself food. And you don't only have to fast from food, you guys. Just when you fast from food, you're literally emptying your body of it. I more often fast from like social media, the phone in general, television. I do those fasts more often than I do food fasts. Because I feel like I'm called more often to do those because those are the things that consume our lives on a day to day basis. Well enough. Yeah, my ducky. Um, but the hardest thing I think would honestly be if you leave God out, really sticking to it. Especially if you're the only one doing it, if you have no support, there's nobody around you that's like, "Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it together." If it's just you and God, it's hard, especially the first couple times. But I think the closer and closer that you are to God in the sense of you relying on Him and you just leaning on His strength, it becomes easier. The beginning is hard. But the more you do it, like with anything, the easier it becomes, the more natural it becomes. But definitely sticking to it the first couple times is the hardest, especially when there's like events and stuff, and you're just like, "Ooh, that look good." And especially if you leave God out of it. Never leave God out of your fast, y'all. Ever. Because we're given self discipline through God, right? For the fruits of the Spirit, self control. It's the only thing that we're allowed to control, y'all. In case nobody knew that. But the only way you can do that is with God. Alright, y'all. I have a couple more verses I want to go over. And then we will be done with today. I gotta finish up a couple things here before I go get my daughter. I be down, I'm telling you. I'm down. Hey, Andre. I see you over there, brother. I appreciate you for being here. Peace and blessings. All right, so we're going to go over to Matthew because we're finally in the New Testament, y'all. And the verses that I gave are just a small, very, very, very small amount of what the Old Testament has in fasting. Like, I highly, highly recommend that you go back and do your own study with God about fasting because it is so good. This is like a very small glimpse into the world of fasting. All right. So, Matthew chapter 4. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And after he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he then became hungry. Y'all, our God is so good. He lasted 40 whole days, 40 whole nights before he became hungry. It says, and then he became hungry. That's how you know he is who he is. The longest I have fasted thus far is a week and a half. One day, I hope to go 40 days. That's a goal of mine. Just to see and experience what our God experienced. If I get there, it'll be by His will, by His grace. So far, Bobby's failed. But he went 40 whole days, 40 nights, and then he became hungry. And how good is our God that He Himself fasted? That's how you know it's important. God did it. I mean, how can you deny that something needs to be done if God Himself did it? Honestly, it's it's insane to me that there are people out there that are like, "No, you don't have to do that. You should never do." As a child, I was never taught fasting. I have gone to church since I was 7 years old, y'all. I've heard all of the Bible. I've heard so many things preached, but not a single one of those sermons were about fasting. What does that say? Something that God Himself did to prepare Himself to be tempted. And we are never taught it. No one's out there preaching it. I mean, there are. Let me rephrase that. Very limited people are out there preaching it, teaching it, pointing it out. And God Himself did it. I mean, mm, mm. So sad. All right, let's go over to Matthew 17. All right, you guys. So this one's a very special one, right? Because there are actually, this is the funny part, y'all. There are versions of the Bible, translations, that do not have this verse that we are about to read in them. It literally skips the entire verse. Now, they say it's because it's not in the original Greek, because it wasn't there. And I don't know. I've never read the original Greek. I don't have the transcripts in front of me. Perhaps, but I don't know. It seems convenient to leave something this important out. But let's read. We'll start in verse 17. Or actually, we'll go up a little bit. Um, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic and is very ill. For off, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. I brought him to your disciples that they could cure him. And Jesus answered and said, "You unbelieving and perverted generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring him to me." And Jesus rebuked him, and the demon came out of him, and the boy was cured at once. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, "Why could we not drive it out?" He said to them, he said to them, because of the littleness of your faith. For truly I say to you, if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, "Move from here to there," and it will move, and nothing will be impossible to you. But this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. So, right there, y'all, verse 21 is the verse that many translations do not have. But let's go back up to 20, right? Like, that's very important. So, first off, the disciples are so confused. Like, why can't we cast out this spirit? I mean, we know you, God, so it's quick, easy, simple for you. But you allowed us to do that as well. So why can't we do this? And God's like, well, because you got little faith. Because of the littleness of your faith. For truly I say to you, it is if you have faith the size of a mustard seed. So a lot of people misunderstand this verse. A lot of people think that you only need a teeny tiny bit of faith. But if you read right before, it says the laziness of your faith or the littleness of your faith. Laziness. My bad, y'all. The littleness. So it can't be the size of it because he already said no. But a mustard seed, you guys. When you plant a mustard seed, it changes its entire environment. It goes and grows and consumes the area that it is in. That is what God means. He refers to his people as mustard seeds. He refers to his people as the salt of the earth, as the light of the world. All three of those things change their environment which they are in. If you take light into a dark room, it makes the entire room light. If you salt something, it changes the flavor. If you plant a mustard seed, it engulfs what is around it. God doesn't send us out there to just sit there and keep to ourselves. He expects us to change our environment because we are of Him. And He does not like the way the world is. And then 21. But this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. So there is no way that you can truly go out and be all that God called you to be unless you pray and you fast. Because by fasting, you are denying your fleshly desires. You are denying what people would say is necessary to have, to live. And you are saying God matters more. My God will strengthen me. My God will do all these things. My God will fill me the way food could never fill me. My God will give me joy and happiness the way this world will never be able to. By fasting, you are denying your flesh. Amen, Andre. Fasting starves the fleshly appetite, and Christ affords the opportunity to walk in the Spirit. We allow God to truly work through us when we deny our flesh. And fasting is literally denying your flesh of a nutrients it thinks it needs. God gives us our daily bread. The Lord's Prayer. Why would he say those things if it wasn't true, right? Why would he do that? Why would he teach us? Well, you know what? We're going to go over there real quick. Hold on. Hold on. I think it's six. Let's see. Ooh, look at me. I know things. Mhm. What, Bubba? I know you too. I'm almost done, okay? I promise. Yeah, I'm almost done. Sit down. Because I promise I'm almost done. All right. What, Bubba? Yes, your baby. All right. So pray this way: Our Father who is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts, as we have forgiven our debtors. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Give us our daily bread. If you are relying on God, He will provide, no matter what. If He feeds the animals outside, hold on, buddy. If He feeds the animals outside and they never worry, why do we, as humans, a creation that God loves more than the animals, worry? If you take the time and to deny your flesh, God will work through you in ways you never thought were possible. Hold on, buddy. If we stop and we get with God and we say, Lord, I am willing to deny me. I am willing to deny what I believe I need. And I am willing to let you provide. And we literally sit there and we decide to fast and to allow Him to fill us in that fast. I promise you, you will come out a stronger believer. You will be more at peace. And you will have this connection to God that you didn't even know you were missing. Reading His Word, praying, those are amazing ways to build your relationship. But truly and honestly, He cannot fully work in us unless we fast. Now, how long you fast, that's between you and God. Sometimes He'll call you to fast for a day or two, sometimes a couple weeks. Sometimes He may call you to fast even longer, but allow Him to lead it. He will provide things that you never knew you could have because you thought you had reached it all. But when you fast, he corrects, he cleans, he does all of these things because you're trusting in him, because you're denying your flesh and you're allowing the spirit to work. So today, what is called the present, I ask each and everyone listening, get with God. Help him, ask him to help lead you to your first fast. If you're nervous or you're scared and it's your first time, you've seen my brothers and sisters, we're willing to fast with you. We would love to fast with you. You're not in alone. Not only is God with you, but he will provide a community to help you. If you are a long-time believer and you know what, it's been a good minute since you fasted. Get with God. Maybe you're due for one. If it just seems like you're in a rut and you haven't received anything from God lately and you're just waiting and wondering, when was the last time you fasted? When was the last time you emptied yourself, denied your flesh, and said, God, you fill me the way that only you can? Fasting is one of the greatest things that we can do because it is full submission unto him. It's truly living and allowing his words to live in us when he says that he is the bread of life. He is the living water. So I really, really do recommend getting with God and asking him. Don't jump in it just because you hear these words. Get with God first. Sit with him, study it. Allow him to call you to it. And the more and more you do it, the easier and easier it will become. I promise you that. Get with a community. Find other believers that are willing to help you because he will provide them. And when you fast, make sure you stay in prayer. Make sure you stay in his word because he can fill you then. And the enemy will have no chance to come in. That's why you have to ensure that you have God. Because once you empty yourself, you allow yourself to be open. And if you're not allowing God into those spaces, you're allowing the enemy. So please be with God when you do it. I thank each and every single one of you for being here today. And I hope this helps somebody. I hope that God led you and that you get with him and that you get to experience the amazingness of him through fasting. But until next time, y'all, I love you. God bless. And I'll catch y'all later. Bye.